All right, so let's go over some block standings here. So we've gone over all the matches. Now we're changing the format of the G1 a little bit. Now we're having 4 shows left in block play. Each block gets its own night. So there's no longer A and B all block matches. Now we're going to see some tags underneath, and then the 4 block matches for A, and then we're going to do the same thing for B, and so we have 4 shows to go instead of just 2, even though we're coming down to the end here. So important note. A block, we have Sonata on 12, and he's through. That's it. So the only question is he going to go undefeated in block play? He has Chase Owens on the 5th.
What do you got? Yes or no?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think he goes through. I think he scores all 14. I think
one of the 14, buddy.
One of the points of this G1 is try to establish him as a legit champion that is on the level of the other top guys. He's not.
So losing on the last night of regular play kind of undercuts that, I would say.
Especially with Chase Owens. What are you going to do? Give Chase Owens a world title shot?
Fair enough. Okay, so that leaves one more guy into this. Who could it be, Steven?
We have a bunch of people here. Hikuleo, Kato Kiyomiya, and Shota Umino are all on 6 points. Still in the running are Gabriel Kidd and Yota Tsuji with 5. The only people that are really out of this thing for that second spot is Ren Narita, Chase Owens, and 4 that are just effectively out of it. Here are the key matches. Sonata will face Chase, like we mentioned. Ren Narita will face Kaito Kiyomiya. So that is somebody who could play the spoiler role there. And then Shota Umino and Hikuleo will wrestle each other. How do you see this playing out, Jeremy?
Now that I'm actually looking at it, I don't know. I think Kaito Kiyomiya is going to advance. Like that's where I'm going with this. But in order for that to happen, Umino and Hikuleo kind of have to draw, don't they?
Yeah, I think so. Which could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not going to – I don't see them doing playoff, but this is the bracket to do the playoff. I don't see Yota Tsuji winning with 7 points, even if he were to make it. I don't see Ren Narita beating Kaito Kiyomiya, although it's possible. It just – maybe Yota Tsuji makes it with 7. It's entirely possible.
I mean, I think Tsuji can beat Kidd, and he can get to 7. The issue is a winner in Shota Umino or Hikuleo gets them to 8. If Kiyomiya beats Narita, he gets to 8. Looking at the position on the card, if Kiyomiya gets to 8, see, here's the issue with that. If Kiyomiya gets to 8, he's second from the top. It looks like, well, Sonata and Chase. No. Okay. So it's going to go third from the top is Umino and Hikuleo. Someone I think is going to win that and get to 8. Then Kiyomiya. Oh, that's going to be Shota, isn't it? Okay. All right. I'm playing it out in my head. So say Shota beats Hikuleo and gets to 8. Now Kiyomiya has to win and get to 8 points over Ren Narita, and then he would get the tiebreaker over Umino.
Didn't they draw?
Oh, Shota and Kiyomiya drew, didn't they?
I think there's either a double countout or a double disqualification in the Hikuleo Shota Umino match.
Ghetto, you tricky little bastard.
It's too messy otherwise.
Interesting. Okay, well, we'll see how that one turns out. Block B. That, by the way, Saturday in Osaka is when the A block finishes up. The Sunday, also in Osaka, will be the B block. So they're running 2 nights there in Osaka, which works. It's the second biggest town there and always has an enthusiastic crowd. Okada on top of the B block with 10 points. After him, here's where the muddle comes in. Ospreay is on 8 and has the tiebreaker. Phantasmo, Taichi, Tangaloa with 6. So there you have it. Now, again, totally eliminator. Now, Kenta, Great Okan, and Yoshihashi, they can only get to 6. Ospreay already has 8. Okada has 10. So the only people that are still in it are 6 points and up. Here are the key matches. Taichi facing the Great Okan. So he has to kind of defend his spot there over a potential spoiler. ELP, El Phantasmo, and Will Ospreay will wrestle each other. I'll bet that's going to be a good match. And then Okada has Tangaloa. How do you see this one playing out?
Well, since Tongaloa has the tiebreaker over Osprey, Osprey has to get at least one more point to advance if Tangaloa beats Okada, which isn't completely out of the question, but I would assume that Okada gets 12 points and Will Ospreay gets 10, and the rest of the bracket kind of sees itself out the door.
Yeah.
That's a bit cleaner than the one the night before, and I feel like they're not going to get too messy and in the weed back to back to back because we got 4 nights of people trying to keep track of this stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. We've said from the beginning that we thought that Okada and Ospreay were certainly the class of this field with Taichi in the mix. I think that's the way it's going to end up. And I think El Fantasma will, because again, the pressure will be on Ospreay because I think Taichi's going to win his match and he has the tiebreaker over Ospreay, so Ospreay has to win, that type of thing. I think that'll be the drama rather than who's really going to upend Okada or anything like that. And I think we're going to end up with Okada and Ospreay. They're the two best. They're the two biggest draws. That's who should go on.
It makes the most sense. You don't not put those two in post bracket play. If they do, great. It's cool. We look like idiots, but do we really look like idiots for not assuming Will Ospreay and Okada would be the ones going out of this bracket? I don't know. You decide.
Block C will be Tuesday in Yokohama. So heading back toward Tokyo there for a day. David Finlay and Evil and Eddie Kingston all on top of that with 8 points. Tama Tonga, Shingo Takagi with 7. And so there you go. Mikey Nichols, Hanare, they can only get to 6. And Ishii already eliminated there. So like I said, a right mess out there. So here are the key matches. We will have Eddie Kingston and David Finlay. Lot can happen there. Shingo Takagi against Evil. So that's 2 more.
I think those are the only 2 that matter. Those are the only.
And then Tama Tonga is still mathematically in it. He's in there with Hanare. So that could be the upset special to take Tama Tonga out of this, to have it boil down to the last matches.
I have continued to remember that Shingo Takagi is a former IWGP World Champion and Tama Tonga is a former never openweight champion, and I'm going to use that as the cudgel of one over the other. So here's how I think it plays out. I think Shingo Takagi beats Evil to get to 9 before the main event. So Eddie Kingston, David Finlay will both have 8. Because of the tiebreakers, it is win or go home. David Finlay beats Eddie Kingston because that plays into all the Bullet Club shenanigans that Eddie Kingston has gotten the upper hand on. David Finlay finally puts Eddie Kingston in his place and sends him packing and moves on to win the bracket.
I agree with you there. I think that's how it's going to turn out also. And then Block D, we have that one will take place Wednesday in Shizuoka. So a week from today. When we record this, as we record this, you'll probably be hearing it later. But this one has Jeff Cobb, Tetsuya Naito, and Zack Sabre Jr. on top. And I believe that is Cobb has the tiebreakers on each of them. So there you have it. That's a little bit of information. Tanahashi and Goto are still technically in it on 6 points, just behind. And then you have eliminated Shane Haste, Alex Coughlin, Toru Yano, who cannot reach 8. And we have 3 guys with 8, so they're out of it. And the key matches here. Zack Sabre, he'll be facing Goto. And then you will have Jeff Cobb and Shane Haste and Naito versus Tanahashi. Yeah, I am still leaning toward Naito and Sabre getting out of this, with Haste making the big upset on Cobb.
I don't think it's an upset. I think it's a draw.
Okay, that could be too. Because I think we just need to keep him from getting 2.
I think the story is Jeff Cobb panics and he can't get the pin on Shane Haste, and we are getting to the 20-minute mark, and he realizes that his G1 will slip out of his hands if he can't do this, and he has 2 other people that could potentially knock him out. But him losing, takes the power out of his own hand actively, and it needs to be a passive removal of him from the tournament. It needs to be slipped out of his fingers. That is the story, and he gets closer and closer every year. Because the same thing happened last year, and he lost. But if he loses on a draw, or he doesn't get in on a draw, that makes the story of him getting closer and closer and closer to the G1 much, much better narratively.
So with that in mind, that would give Naito and Zack Sabre a chance to win their matches, get to 10 points, and move on. In that case, Naito would win the block with the tiebreaker from the match we just talked about. There you go.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So there you have it. And that's what we're looking at there.